This has some serious implications for the Celtics as we go over an injury update with no Jayson Tatum and no Sam Hauser in tonight's contest. But to further that, Brad Stevens has made a move sending Baylor Shireman once again to the G League, but this time it could be for an extended time as he is said to be staying there for multiple weeks. So what could that mean for Baylor Shireman and what could that mean for his potential growing in Joe Mazzulla's offense? We're going to be looking at all of that and more on this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Velez, and you guys have been absolutely fantastic, showing your love and support over on the channel. We're really, really supportive of that. Thank you guys so much. Without further ado, though, let's dive into the content at hand today. Make sure to grab a snack. And this is interesting, as we're first going to be looking at the injury report for the Celtics game tonight, taking on the Detroit Pistons. If you do not know, like I mentioned, the Celtics did have this game scheduled because they did miss the NBA Cup playoffs. Obviously, we know the semifinals, the four teams, the Hawks, Bucks, Rockets, and Thunder, are all going to be going to Vegas. The Celtics are not one of those teams, so they have some makeup games coming up over the next couple of days. And today starts their first one. So if we want to look at the injury report for the game, they are taking on the Detroit Pistons at home, a team that they recently just played in a game where Jayson Tatum sat out. And once again, Jayson Tatum is out tonight versus the Pistons. If we want to look at the full Celtics report, Jayson Tatum is out with a right patella tendinopathy. Jaden Springer is out with an illness, non-COVID. And Sam Hauser still has that right adductor strain that he suffered in the Celtics' recent game versus the Memphis Grizzlies, in which he sidelined for the second half. He is also out. But the Celtics do have one player who was on the injury report yesterday that is available, and that is Jordan Walsh. The Celtics, without Sam Hauser, Jaden Springer, and Jayson Tatum, they will have Jordan Walsh. And if we want to look at this tweet from Bobby Manning, we can also see an update from Kristaps Porziņģis as well. As he said this morning, his ankle is feeling fine after tweaking on Saturday versus Memphis, as he is not on the injury report tonight, which is key for the Celtics, and I think is big. The Celtics having Kristaps Porziņģis in this matchup versus the Pistons, going up against a team where he absolutely dominated in his last performance, is going to be key for the Celtics' success this season going into this game. And I'm hoping for the Celtics to have a similar matchup versus the Pistons that they did last time. Like we said, it was last week, 130-120 in Boston, but it was a close competitive game. I expect the Pistons to come out on fire, with the Celtics having no Jayson Tatum. Players like Jaylen Brown, Peyton Pritchard, Kristaps Porziņģis, Jrue Holiday are going to have to step up, and a player like Jordan Walsh is going to see extended time tonight. So I'm excited to see how that kind of all folds down for the Celtics. If you guys are hyped up about the game, make sure to check out on the channel, as we will have a post-game video coming out further following the game. But let me know your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section on the game. I wanted to get those updates for you before start time if you did watch the video. But next, let's get into the next part. This is something to keep an eye on as Celtics fans, as we're seeing player on this Celtics roster getting sent and moved up and down through the G League and the regular roster, but now it is looking like he has found a home with that G League roster. If we want to look at this report, courtesy of Bobby Manning, we can see that Drew Peterson, Celtic on a two-way contract, who has been playing up in the Celtics rotation, and Baylor Shireman, the Celtics rookie who's on a guaranteed deal, who hasn't gotten much shine with the Celtics and has been playing down with the Maine Celtics, are not with the Celtics tonight. And as Noah Dalzell reported, Baylor Shireman will be with the Maine Celtics for an extended stretch going forward. With Sam Hauser doubtful, as this tweet was tweeted before the injury report, Sam Hauser out, and obviously Walsh questionable, it could be another heavy double big game. Now, Walsh is obviously playing, Sam is ruled out. Still a possibility of that double big being a viable option. Now, obviously, with this Celtics team having some of these top tier players, possibly going to a double big with having Jordan Walsh playing, it could be a key X factor for the Celtics. But something to note from what Bobby Manning said is that Noah Dalzell reported that Shireman will be going down. And if we want to look at this report, courtesy of Noah Dalzell, we can see that Baylor Shireman said he thinks he'll be with Maine Celtics for a couple of weeks, his first prolonged stretch in the G League. And we've seen a player like Baylor Shireman be brought up from this Celtics team, obviously as he has a guaranteed spot, but been going back and forth down this roster back and hasn't really been able to find that much potential with the Celtics. He did look all right, looked solid in the summer league with the Celtics, with presenting himself to be an aggressive rebounder, pretty solid shooter. And the preseason didn't really hit that mark or memo, and it was kind of noticed by Celtics fans that a player like Shireman would be playing in a majority of his time in the G League, similar to Jordan Walsh last season, which was kind of an ideal representation when the Celtics did draft him. But Shireman is a player who through his career for the Celtics, hasn't been able to really crack that rotation, hasn't been able to showcase his skills. So developing in the G League could be that real deal. Like I said, 5 games for the Celtics so far this season. Hasn't been doing that much for the team. But in the G League, if we want to look at his stats, 20 points on average, 7.3 rebounds, and 3 assists. And if you want to look at his traditional splits, you can see that our boy, obviously Baylor Scheierman, has been doing his thing in Maine. And something similar to Jordan Walsh last season. This is what the Celtics do. They send their rookie to the G League, obviously, as they don't have a real roster spot to give him in this rotation, as players like Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard have obviously taken those shooting roles off the bench, and they're a little bit better, have more NBA experience. But a player like Scheierman, similar to Walsh, can learn in the G League. Go to the G League, be that G League MVP, kind of be that motor, get his playing time, get the real reps that he is used to as well, similar to college, being one of the better players on that G League team. It's a little bit of an adjustment going from a top tier college player being the first, second option to then going to Boston and being the 14th, 15th option, being the stay ready grouping, getting your number called and having to be hot and ready to go and being ready to make an impact. It is definitely difficult for players to get adjusted to that. So for a player like Baylor Scheierman to go to the G League and have a prolonged visit with the G League, I think is very, very great for the Celtics. I don't think that this is a bad move. I think this is the smart decision. If you want to keep a player like Baylor Scheierman locked up long term, if you see the potential in Baylor Scheierman as a shooter, as a rebounder, as aggressive defender, if you think he could be a key rotational player for this Celtics team, either replacing Sam Hauser in that rotation in the future or possibly even being another scorer/shooter in that rotation alongside Sam Hauser and Peyton Pritchard, then if you're the Boston Celtics, this is the best move. Have Baylor Scheierman go to the G League, play as well on a solid G League team with solid G League players as well, and J.D. Davison, Drew Peterson, Anton Watson, the guys on the two-ways, multiple other G League guys, and Ron Harper Jr., Tristan Nwara, Dimitrios Kapintsev, play alongside them, get better, learn some things from guys that have been in the G League or have been in the NBA, even if it is just on 10-day contracts, to get that experience, to get those, stories told to you. And then ultimately, this season, just let it go. Let it unleash in the Maine Celtics. Go off, dominate, be that best player so that when next season the Celtics are looking at potential players to bring up, obviously you're already on a guaranteed contract, you have a bigger reason to fight for a role. And like I said, it could be that Sam Hauser role. The Celtics did extend him to a $10 million contract, but if the Celtics do feel confident through next season that a player like Baylor Scheierman could be a version of Sam Hauser just on a cheaper deal, they could move off a Sam Hauser contract to shed some money. A player he could also, like I said, be brought into that rotation, kind of playing a little bit of a Spi Mihajlovic role, kind of being that little still solid shooter, but and still catch and shoot, but a little bit bigger, a little bit lankier of a defender to kind of fill in at that 2 spot, maybe be like a Joe Harris replacement for the Celtics team, kind of inserted, and you could just have another shooter off this bench ready to go, let it to rip lights out. We've seen Jordan Walsh make improvements from last year to this year, from obviously being in the G League to where he's even cracked the rotation at some points and given the Celtics some solid run on the defensive side. So I do think a player like Scheierman could get that same kind of respect, same kind of scenario as Jordan Walsh did last season with this Celtics team. And I think that is a best case scenario for Baylor Scheierman and for the Celtics, as it shows Baylor Scheierman that they believe in him, they want to keep him long term, and that they see the product in front of him. And for Baylor, it gives him and for the Celtics, it gives him the opportunity to see what Baylor is and truly what he can become for this Celtics roster if he is a part of the long term future. Like I said, we broke down all of this news, going over this Celtics updates referring to the game and this Baylor Scheierman news bomb that we got dropped on us. I want to say thank you guys for you guys tuning in. If you guys did enjoy the content, make sure to hit that like button. Drop down your thoughts in the comment section. I want to know what you guys think about the injury updates, about Baylor Scheierman going down for the foreseeable future, as it's not obviously a shocking thing, but obviously something interested to break down. You guys are absolutely fantastic. I'll catch you guys in the post game if you do come by. If not, no worries. I'll catch you again in the next video. Have a great rest of your day, and go Boston Celtics. Peace out.